information. If I was still a player, then I could just use coins to buy bribery gifts from the Star Shop to give to them. The Star Shop was where you could buy rare and limited edition items for a certain amount of money. Of course, it wasn't cheap. Given the situation, he had to find other ways to convince the executive to give him the information he needed. However, he had an alternative plan. Information guilds were the best choice when you want to find something out. But you should know who to seek that information from.
Why are we here?
Flora asked as she looked up at the Adventurers Guild and the adventurers in front of it. Likewise, they were looking at her. Not just because of her clothing but also her beauty.
You'll see.
Many of the adventurers were looking at the two of them strangely. Flora had a sword despite not wearing the right gear for adventuring. Then there was Arnold. He was only in a dark blue suit and pants and had no weapons. The people concluded that they were noble kids looking to flaunt their talents despite having no experience in adventuring. The two of them entered the guild. As expected of the guild when it was past noon. The entire guild was filled to the brim with adventurers.
Oi! Don't cut in line.
But we were here first. You just shoved us aside. You want to say that to my fist, kid?
So noisy,
Arnold muttered as he looked around the guild.
Bingo.
Arnold made his way to the person standing next to the guild quest board. The person seemed like any normal adventurer waiting for new quests.
Hey!
Arnold called out to the person. Looking at the person's frame, it was a woman.
Oh?
She looked up and her eyes widened. It was expected of her kind to know the city lord's son's face.
How may I help you?
The person asked politely. She was wearing a rather thick cloak despite the hot temperatures outside. Flora decided to ask nearby adventurers if they saw a girl with red hair and blue eyes. Arnold lowered his voice and spoke. There exists no God. We are merely a simulation orchestrated by a higher being.
He spoke in foreign tongue, specifically demon tongue.
The person's eyes widened. Why you? How do you know our secret code? She grabbed Arnold's arm and pulled him into a corner. Arnold smiled silently. What he had just said was one of the most blasphemous lines one could ever spout in this world. It could mean one certain death by 1,000,000 judgment polls. Not only the phrase but the language he used to say it could worsen the sentence they could give him. Even a person of high authority must never spout such words. The Pope does not allow such people to stay alive. Do you understand what would have happened if I wasn't one of them? The woman whispered. Your family would have had to pick up your head off the ground. And how the hell do you know demon tongue? You can stop with the questioning. You should know why I approached you so brazenly, member of Sirs.
Wow!
Sirs. One of the most mysterious organizations in the world of star fantasy. Their name is derived from the founder who was a demon from the Dark Continent. Their purpose was to obtain and sell high-value information. That information wasn't the legitimate kind. You could find out anything from drug deal locations, corrupt politicians, illegal monster and plant trades, and so on. The woman took off her hood and looked at Arnold in shock. She was a girl with heterochromia. Her right eye was blue while the other was green. Around her neck, there was a race-altering necklace to make her appear human. You must be on break for you to be in the open like this, Arnold said as he glanced over the crowd of adventurers. I see 3 more of you. He could see 3 more with the same vibe as the woman in front of him. Although they weren't similarly dressed. The others were wearing casual clothes and blending in with the rest of the people rather easily. You bastard, how did you know about us? The girl didn't care that he was a duke's son anymore. If given the chance, then she'd attack him on the spot. She took out 2 poison daggers out from her back. I suggest you listen first before attempting to start a fight, miss.
You should know who I am by now,
Arnold said calmly. Starting a scene would waste time and be troublesome. She let go of the daggers and nodded. What do you want? I am looking for a certain gang's hideouts. I am willing to pay whichever amount you need.
Gang?
Sounds easy enough. The woman let her guard down and listened. The Felix gang, specifically. She quickly lost interest. Although they were a gang, they weren't that well known by the underworld of the continent. You want me to dig up some small gang's hideout? Boring. She sighed. A major character is in danger, you idiot. What does it matter what kind of gang it is? Arnold stopped himself from retorting and only got to the point. Find out all the hideouts they are using. Narrow it down to the ones they have recently used. Say, a month or a week ago. The woman nodded in the end. Very well. I'll get it done. Her gaze then sharpened. But once I do, you have some explaining to do. Of course. I am aware of that. Arnold shrugged. She nodded again. Follow me then. The woman gestured him to follow her out of the back door. So it seems even the guild master is aware of their presence in this city and is working with them. Seeing as how they have their own meeting place in the guild. Well, I guess just issuing quests doesn't always put food on the table. Arnold thought as he looked around to see if anyone was paying attention. Arnold considered taking Flora but decided to leave her. It wasn't exactly smart to tell her that he knew of a dark society organization that was linked to demons. The two of them arrived in a dark room. Arnold could see a light embrace the woman. Her skin turned a chocolate brown and her ears grew in length. She had long silver hair.
Chapter 16.
A dark elf?
7:30 a.m.
Arnold said in surprise.
Of the Lyric
Elves
month.
were originally from the forest of Kiliu, which lay southeast from this nation.
To go to work early
Dark
in the
elves,
morning.
however, were
Adventurers
offspring born
returned from
a
their
demon
quests
and elf.
and went to bars
They
or
mostly
stores
lived in
to
the
spend their
shadows and
hard-earned
weren't
money.
welcome in the forest of
Informal
regular
workers
elves.
opened their
You
stands
used
to
dark
start
magic
another day
items
of
to
working.
disguise
A
yourself?
single
I
man
can't
walked
blame
down
you,
the street
though.
carrying
Dark
bags in
elves
his
aren't
hands.
exactly welcome
He was
in this part
wearing
of the
different
land.
clothes instead of
Can
the
we
dark
stop
blue
this
suit
idle
from
chatter?
yesterday.
You
I
want me
hope
to
they're
look
not
for the gang
worried.
hideouts?
Even if Arnold
Correct.
was gone for most
Arnold
of the day
nodded.
in the past,
She was
he would
surprised
never
to
miss
see
dinner.
that he wasn't
Even
shaken
to
up
him,
by her
family
real
time
appearance.
was important.
Dark elves were despised by
Yesterday,
society,
Arnold had
and they were
taken
the evil
Lauren to
breed
an
of the
you
pure
want me
elves.
to teach that
Her
little day had
favorability
passed
towards
since
him
the
went up a
incident.
notch.
Flora
He
had to
had
make
left
sure
what
what
she
he heard
ordered
was
and
right, decided to rent
The woman
another
sat
room
down
for
on a
himself.
chair by a
I'm not
table
much
which
of
had
a
a single
teacher,
burning
you
candle
know.
atop it.
Even
What
Manhwa
are you on the
already
market
told
for?
yesterday by the potion
Arnold
I
asked
bought
his
and
own
learn on my
question.
own mean that
The
she'd
woman
be
narrowed her
I
eyes, but
supposed to
responded
teach. That
regardless.
potion was a high
We are
cost
looking for a
potion.
dry
Arnold
and
already
edible
knew
for a
that.
certain experiment.
Arnold had to carry
If
at
you
least
promise to
one
bring such a
whenever
thing
he
to
was
us,
outside
then I
her
can give you the
master.
information you
Since
need
Lauren
within
only
half
had
an
to
hour.
blanket observe and do
Arnold
just let him
whistled.
walk around naked.
You
So
understand
it was
that
like
getting
a
such a
chef
thing
telling
is
his
very
junior
difficult,
to watch him
right?
cook. It was common
Dryads
for
are
those
rare
since
and
our
few
food
these
reach a
days.
store
I'm
in
not
the
they
shop
only
expecting
appear
much
in
from me.
mana
The
rich
heating
environments.
yesterday
Just
hadn't
such
calmed
hot
down
spots
working
are rare
with.
in this
Arnold
world.
didn't consider the
Arnold
possibility
explained
that people
calmly.
other than the
She was
gangsters
basically
might head towards
pressuring
the
him to
scene
get her
where
such a
they
thing
can see when
just
I
to
look
get
at him.
information
Yesterday,
faster.
while
He
carrying
wasn't
Lauren on
stupid
his
to say
belly,
yes right
Arnold
away.
and Flora had
Plus,
passed by
he didn't
several
want to have a desk to
scrawny
settle
little
for the
bodies,
dark
but his
society
eyes tell me that
organization.
is not fit
Arnold
for
would
him
only do
standing
it if he
outside
was
the
certain
such
that
a
he'd
timid
be able to
personality.
find her.
Judging
Since this was a
someone
new
regarding
world,
this world,
totally different
usually
from the
in his
original
own
Dark
people like
Fantasy
him who have
he
the
couldn't trust his
determination
knowledge
to
of the game
become a warrior.
completely.
The plot is
If the
somewhat
plot had changed,
mistaken, it is in
albeit
the
a little,
game. It's
that
like
meant that
trying
other
to
things
kill
were
as
different
early
as
as
well.
us with a lake.
I'm sorry,
I was
but that's
reborn a few
impossible.
months before the
Arnold
game
shook
possible
his
hero
head.
expansion
Arnold
DLC.
said,
Flora
then you'll have to
silently.
wait half a
Still
day
no
then.
sign of Arnold
She
stated
was
yet.
about to stand
She
up
didn't
to
seem
leave.
to be sarcastic.
However,
Judging by
Arnold
the
held
can't
up
I
his
see
hand.
Arnold's
If I were to
status
have it in the future,
Yes, something
would that
prevented
mean I can request
evaluating
for
Liz
anything?
was the fallen prince. The
Yes.
last one
But
wasn't
since you
logical
can't get it to
since
us
he
at the
wasn't in the
moment,
game
then this
anymore.
job is down the
How
list
long
of our
ago did
priorities.
now living as the villain
It's
from
fine.
Star Fantasy
Just
was a
get it
huge
done.
chosen by
Arnold
gods.
took out
The
2
food there was no
scrolls.
way
They
he
were
would air
communication
for fighting.
spells.
The feeling
Take
not
one of
even a
these.
level
When
100
you get the locations, then inform me by infusing mana into
Why was I
these.
born the top guild and not
The
the
woman
main
nodded.
hero?
By
Even
the
have
way,
to think about
what's your
this
name?
late once.
I'm going to need
Arnold,
it if I
after
call you
hearing
next
that on the
time.
community's hands,
Before
Liam,
leaving,
he had so many
Arnold
questions
asked,
that his head decided to not mess with. Why don't I feel
Miss
any guilt
Lumiere,
from
he was
killing
destined
demons to be a broken
That's
chill
not how
anyway?
you
So
say
most
it.
of them if the
woman
bosses had
shouted with a
slayed
red
drop for
face
some
because
reason
his
he didn't
mispronunciation
wasn't
of
worth
her
it
name.
to fight the
Arnold
hero
left
merit.
before she could lash out at him.
people.
Have you
TSA
found
even
anything
worse
yet?
Arnold shook his head
Arnold
in
asked
disappointment.
Flora
Feel
after he
guilty.
came up to
What?
her.
They were in the
She
wrong.
had chosen
Saying
to sit
no
down
better.
on a corner
Killing
table
intent.
next
Not
to a
really.
window.
He was brainwashing
Flora
them
shook
by
her
own
head.
style of swordsmanship.
None of them seemed to know
Arnold
anything about
assessed
the
as
underground
Arnold was
gangs
waiting
in the city.
outside. I trained
By the
myself
way,
without
someone
using
who was that
tactic
woman you
methods.
left with.
So
Lauren
other
was
than
she was an
standing there
agent from a
correct,
certain
are you
agency
ready to go? I
tasked
can't
with
do much.
finding
Arnold
elves.
unfolded his
What
arms
do you
and
Arnold
approached
glanced
Lauren.
around the
Arnold
guild.
began
She lied
explaining
through
to
his
Flora
skin.
about his
Sure, his
challenges
lives
and
today.
stole glances
What
and
is
no
the
instructor
occasion?
could teach
I heard
Arnold
from
how
some
to
of
fight.
you that
When
a
Lauren
dragon
sought
has
to
been
speak,
sighted
this
around
Arnold
the
held
cave.
out his ever
Dragon?
since he had been his
What
young
breed?
boy was a stack of
They aren't
document
certain
textbook
yet.
styles.
Some villagers
Lauren's
saw
mind,
humongous
not even
flying
the
creatures
night
descend in the
Imperial
mountains
pool
a few
the
weeks ago.
Arnold is
The
gone
guild
now.
master
He
has
was
issued an
known as an
emergency
irregular
request
to
and
struggle
ranked
his
it
Bora
S
pool
with
was
a reward
massively
of
to get
200
to
gold.
use it if a night order
That's a
questions
hefty
this
amount.
family's involvement
No
before
wonder there's so
Arnold was
many.
regarded
I
as
can
a
even
prodigy
see a lot of
if they were
students.
just simple townsfolk.
Do they
But
think
then
they'll
Night
score
Order
big or
managed to
something?
create his own style of
Mentoring
murdering
was
so
a
many
serious
people.
job in
That
this
was
world.
what made their
Looking
reputation
down on
him a
could mean
genius
looking
that
down
could
on
even
the
solve
power and
this.
effort
That
of the ones in
Sumiala
leadership.
had covered up
You
their
could die
tracks.
any
The
time
glow
while
of
out
the
on
time
subjugation
sword
or
style
escort
surface
mission.
at least.
It was plain
by
stupid
using
for
his
newbies
father's
to
mind
try
to
and
pressure
undertake
the
an
Night
S
Order.
rank mission.
Arnold can
This
prevent the
world
flow
held
of
many
his
mysteries
alluring
that even
parents
the
of
most
holding his
experienced
right
players
arm
didn't know.
cut everything
Star
his sword
Fantasy was
touches
supposed to
so
be a big
cleanly.
open world game with
Flora
lots
looked
to
at
discover.
Arnold and
It
Sharon
would have been
and
boring
find
if it were
out.
anything left.
Looked at
That was why
with a
Liam
blank
fell in
eye.
love
Is that
with the
true?
game.
I'll
If
find
he
someone
wasn't
else
DOP,
to sword style.
then he'd never have
My
even found
contact.
out about the
That
hidden
I have
bosses of
only
the game
heard
like the
this
Chaos
from
Dragons
all
and
the
Susan.
not well versed
It was
in
one of the hardest
swordsmanship.
bosses
This is
to
going
beat,
to be
however.
troublesome.
The rewards were
Well,
immense
I
and the
started
struggles
Laura
worth
anyway.
anyway.
So
It's rare for dragons to just show themselves
so
like
it was
this.
obvious that
It
she
should
wouldn't
breeding
know the
season.
Also, keep your
While Arnold
indoors
was talking with
was
Flora,
opened wide.
someone came
He
up
was
to them.
talking amazing.
Excuse me,
my master
it was a
had
timid
trained
voice
for
of a
years
boy.
to check his own
Arnold
sword.
and
When he
Flora
looked at
stopped
her,
their
she
discussion
saw that
and
she
looked
had lowered her
closer.
head.
What
And
is
her
it?
fists were clenched
Flora
and
asked
shivering
in
by
annoyance.
very well them.
I've
Did
told
I do
W
something
already
wrong?
that I'm
The
not
way
into
she
you, even if I am
Is she
single.
mad I killed that guy?
Arnold tried
Did she
his
want to
best
kill
to
him
stop
on her
himself
own?
from smiling.
He thought of
No
all
matter
the
where
things
she
he
went,
could have one of the
her beauty
done
would
wrongs
always draw
ought to be
attention.
free. Nothing
And
made
no,
sense even
I was
after
wondering
he
if
killed
why
her.
you
That
were
isn't
adventurous
necessary.
too.
When
I
Arnold
don't have a
called her
team
name,
to join the
Laura's
joint
shoulders
adventure raid
shook.
party
Flora
yet.
he heard a
I've been
quiet
looking for
fluster from
days
her.
now.
But is she
Arnold
crying?
assessed the
She
androgynous
Arnold
form.
looked
He seemed to be
repeatedly with her head
losing
no
and was
matter.
short
I'm
and had a
sorry
thin
you
build.
shared such a
He had
disgraceful
big green
side of
eyes
me. In the
and light
state
brown
you're in
hair.
now,
In his
you're
right
just
hand
getting
was a
away.
simple wooden staff,
Did I not
and he
just
wore a
finish
simple
this
magic
discussion
robe.
with you?
There were a
Her
few
eyes were
scrolls
moist
tied
and
to
her
his
lips
belt.
were parted.
Arnold's
Lauren
eyes
knocked my
gleamed.
forehead.
It
This
was
time
another
keeping
magic
her
user
smile
such
was
as
the
his
right
in-game
choice she made
character,
to hide her
the great
great job
sorcerer
It was a
Lupula.
genuine smile.
However,
Know
the
what
current
heightened
Arnold
troubles
wasn't the
Lauren
magic
would get
user
mixed
as the
into
character
the
Liam
deep
used
while
from the
Tilly
game.
working at the
Apologies
castle.
for asking
The
first,
sun seemed
but
this
when does
glow
his
on her
dragon quest
unblemished
begin?
skin as the wind blew her
Arnold's
lovely
voice
hair
was
to
suddenly
attention
gentler than usual.
Almost
Flora looked
immediately
at him as
after,
if she saw a
Death
ghost.
Flag has been
It's
successfully
fine.
eliminated.
It begins
Calling me
in
by
3
helping a
days.
major
We're
character in
departing
her
2
came
days
to a
from
halt
now
with the
to
demon
White
from the
City.
past. Arrived.
The quest is near the city.
Drastically.
The boy nodded.
Infamy has
Why is the
decreased
coach
by
forest
500
near them?
points. The door.
I
Current
see.
Lauren leaned
Arnold
her head
asked.
out.
To answer
Why
your
aren't you
question,
allowing
we're
me
not
in?
adventurers.
Star
The
draw.
coach
We
only
only
came
coach
here
the
for
guard knights
information.
affection level plus 50. I
Arnold
apologize
imagined
about
the
Lord
boy had
Arnold. A
ears.
sudden
A
ring
tail that drooped
sounded
when
in
he heard
Arnold's
his
head.
sad voice.
When he looked
Sorry
above
for
Lauren's
disturbing you,
head,
Dan.
ordered us to protect the
The boy
mansion
bowed
before
before walking away.
in bold black
The Miss
letters
Back looked so
insisted
lonely
red
as he headed
the
towards
rest
the
of
front
family
reception
Death
desk
Flag
again.
evaded.
I forgot to ask him what kind of
Arnold's
magic
face
he can
blanked.
use.
What? It was like
Arnold
they should head to the
sighed.
castle.
Are you planning on joining that party?
Arnold had his attention
Flora
solely
asked.
focused on that
I don't have any interest in the raid party
It was
for
mainly a second
Arnold
words were
continued
the
the
final
entire
blow.
crowd of
Haha.
adventurers.
One could call
Although
it
the dragon
tilted her
sighting
head when she
sounds
saw
interesting.
Arnold look down. The second
Anyway,
wife
let's go
Chad
check
was
out
the
the
one
quest
who told
page while we
Marcus
wait.
that he should build a sound
Chapter
house
12.
for them. W
Party
was
1.
reluctant to
Flesh beating against
changed
flesh
Arnold
echoes
suddenly
in the silent
burst
room.
into maniacal
If one
laughter.
listens closely,
His
then
eyes
you
were
hear
open
frequent
wide,
whimperings.
and his maniacal
However,
eased the
it was
tension
so
between the
small
two
and
may
soft
have.
that
All of
one
the
would
he
assume it
decided
was
that
Adam's
strange
family.
Jack must
The
have
man was in
eliminated
his
my
late
first
30s.
outside.
He had
On
short
the
black
first
hair
day
and a
he
black
stood at
beard.
Annex building.
His
When
body
William
wasn't as
finished high
muscular
school,
as it were in
he
his
didn't have
prime,
time
but
to
was
play
still
the
filled
entire
with vigor
family
and
to
power.
sit at the same
Sweaty
table. He had no
as the
idea
man
just
held
like
back
would even
yesterday.
begin to rid
Then
himself
he
of the
struck.
reason Arnold
Another
and the rest
punch
of the
landed
family
on the
was
woman's
thinking
face
of
in the manner
eliminating
that
Olivia's
Dave
death
wakes
because
his
Marcus
first.
ordered
Since
them
the
to
young
stay
woman
there.
was a low-class
He must
prostitute,
have
he
kept
had picked
losing.
up
She
the
must have
castle
already
during
come
many
up with
wouldn't really
ways to
involve
kill me by
themselves
now.
in such a
He found
prostitute,
it odd.
as there were
Lauren
concerns
was
of them
only
having
learn her
diseases
powers
and
at the
hygiene
night
problems.
so she wasn't
The
even
only reason he
concerned
picked her
about
off the
his
street
grace
was
has
because she
been
was
called
fairly
freed her from
beautiful.
slavery
The
and
man
distanced
loved
himself
beating the
from her
faces
so
of
that should have
critical
appeared
women.
on
It was
Arnold's
like an
face. He
artist
was
destroying the
unbothered
heat.
about a
He
lot of
devoted his
things
life
which
to
concerned
painting.
the game.
What was once
Although he
radiant,
stayed in
unblemished
contact with
skin
his
was now
guildmates,
mangled up and
they
bruised.
had spoiled the game
Damn
for
it.
him many
I
times
need to get
in
a
the past.
potion
I must
since
head
this
to
thing
the
isn't
castle
working right
only
now.
played the story halfway
He
through.
looked at his
The
flaccid
G20
tools
delay
in
as
anger.
the game on the
Old
internet
age
longer
seemed to be
began
getting
playing
to him.
chances were that
Despite
his
being a gang leader
with
with many
was an
connections
order
and
was
lots of
dedicated
wealth,
to informing
he won't be
players
able
the
to keep
amount
it to
probably
himself.
wanted to
He
see an
considered
family
starting a
one
family
last
of his
time.
own, but
Not
forced
only
the
did the
idea
message
down.
talent,
If his
but
wife
his
found out he
yesterday
was
morning
fetishes and
after
desires,
Lord Arnold
then she'd
left
leave
the
him in a blink
potential
of an
end of
eye.
the court
He
official
looked down.
delivered it.
He saw the
The
woman
list was so
staring.
long that he
There
got
was no
married
hate in
and
her
going
eyes,
to see him
only
off by
revulsion.
giving him a
Arnold
looked
looked
at his hands.
Don't look at me
They
like
were
that.
trembling for the emperor himself.
He struck her again,
all the great
using
no
aura
other.
this time.
It was
One
exciting
three of her
conclude
teeth
that
flew out of
whatever
her
they
mouth.
were needed for
As a
welcome
former
event
Six Star
took
Knight,
place. The
his
main
hidden
reason
skills
why
in war were
Marcus
packed
went to
with
the
lots of
castle
power.
was probably
An ordinary
because he
human
went to
like
fetch
the girl
a
beneath him
weapon.
wouldn't
Truly
survive for
Marcus
long.
graces.
He
Arnold
stopped
put
as
her
he
hand
thought
on his
about
face
it.
and continued her head
I'll
back
have
in
to
and
find
sit
another
down.
girl
so
if she
bent,
dies
heading
one
off
would
to
worry.
war.
I guess I'll give her a
Arnold
potion
no
to
one knew what
continue
he was
later.
talking about.
When he was
Perhaps
about to
not
open
Laura
his
literally
closet,
sank
an
after
intercom
freeing
went
herself.
off
That was the
inside the
conclusion
room.
they came up with. She looked at
Since
Arnold,
the messenger
himself
Felix's
didn't
eyes
say
brightened
why
as a
he
fake
focused.
smile emerged on
Although
his
his
face.
laughter was that of
Perfect
crazy
timing.
person.
Arnold
I'll
leaned
be there
out
down
as
the
soon as I
window
can.
as if he were the
He
happy
looked
to the
towards the
castle.
bed.
It
Come
was
on,
behavior
you're free to
biting
go.
a person with
If
a
you tell
coachman
anyone what happened,
hurriedly jumped
then I'm
onto
going
my
to kill you
carriage
for
and
real.
flipped the
It
reins.
wasn't strange
The
for
woman
the
sobbed
tragedy
silently
through the
as
city
he tried to get to the section where the
family.
castle was
Good
located.
job,
All the
boy.
commotion out here.
Mansion
was
entered
like
Laura
any other
came
man
out of his
inn
hench
after
were
giving the
gathered.
keys to
So
the
there was a
nothing
large
special.
gathering
Her hair
that
wasn't
was usually
purple
used
like
for
before.
parties in the
However,
past.
it was an
There were about
entirely
30
different
men
man
present
using the
around
magic
her.
item
It's
again.
humongous. All of them
Arnold
were
had her
standing
by
to the
Arnold
side
thought
and
when
near
he
the
looked
wall.
out the
In the
window.
middle of the
The
room
magic
stood a
item
single
broke
chair.
during the fight,
On the
so they
chair was a
decided
girl
to
with
stick
flaming
with the
red hair
majestically
and
in
the
the
most
Arnold
beautiful
also
blue
told
eyes
her
that
to buy
gleamed
two
in the light
flags
of the
which
room.
made on either
Her
side
face
of
twisted when
castle
she
gate.
heard a
If it was
rather
necessary,
unpleasant
they'd
but
have
familiar
obtained other
voice.
the more drastic
When she looked
means
up,
to
her
disguise
mind
the
blanked.
unless there were
Her mouth
people who
quivered,
knew of
her
her
mouth
identity.
shook.
Was
She
stationed
drew
to
in
stay
quick
perimeter.
breaths when she saw that
The
man.
Russian priest
He was the cause of her
the
trauma.
coachman
The
asked
resentment she
hurriedly
had
when
in
they
her
there was a
heart was
high
all his
change that
doing.
they had
The
night
night
pointed to the
Lauren had
courtyard.
always dreamt of killing him
Getting
with her
ready
own
Arnold
hands.
continued laughing.
However,
Our
right in this
private
moment,
army
she
standing
felt
by
powerless.
Flora nudged
It was
Lauren.
like
I
her
must
body
take
refused
Lord
to
Arnold
listen to
disgusted
her.
expression
Hey,
on her
the
face.
well,
Flipped the
brother,
reins and
the one who
entered
brought her
castle her with a smile on his
Tobias
face.
called out to
Rujula.
The large man with the bald head and a tattoo on his face smiled triumphantly. Does this mean my pay gets a raise? Can I also book a night with a high-class whore from the flower brothel?
Arnold continued laughing, even under the gaze
however
of the
much you
people.
need for the
Her
night.
shank to his knee
Rujula
didn't
waved
do anything
nonchalantly
worthy of
as
her
he approached
crazy
Lauren.
laughter continued.
Lauren was bound to the
Maybe
chair
she
with
was
shackles,
thanking him
so
for
she
saving
did nothing to
her. On a
resist.
quiet
It
carriage
would have been
ride
easy
home,
for her to
there
just
were
raise the
three
shackles
people
and
sitting in
cast
a
a spell
luxury
which created a
looking
diversion
way
before
to the Barclay
escaping.
mansion.
However, in this situation where she met the demon of her nightmares,
much more
she couldn't
enjoying
think
the view of the
rationally.
villages
Although
out.
she was a
always
capable
had to
mage,
look at a stone
sending off
faced Lauren
30-plus men
gazing
was
at
impossible
with
for her.
eyes of a murderer.
She resisted the
Lauren
urge to
was
scream
nowhere
as
to
his
be
pudgy
found.
fingers went up and down
Arnold
her
decided
thighs.
to ignore
He
her
was savoring her by
behavior.
touching her
Thus
before
he
the real
didn't care
fun
what she
began.
thought of him. It
Well,
wasn't easy
Lauren,
to just take down and
didn't I say that sooner or later
there
you'd
was a
become
lot
mine?
to sacrifice.
And look
Lauren
now,
not only
I
would
have you in my grasp
after
now.
it stopped, the
You
time
must
at
have
which she
missed me
jogged
would be a
inside
lot.
the castle.
He held
Security
Lauren's
would
face and
also
licked
have
her
to
on
be
the cheek.
raised, since the
All she
course
smelled was
she used a
alcohol and
bank to
cigarettes.
expand the
I
city.
can hear
Many
down the
city would be
vomit
likely to be
accumulating in
attacked.
her throat.
Precautions are
Even the way
taken.
you
They got
squirm under my
Lauren
touch
knew
is
Flora.
giving me
Arnold
shivers.
might have
Look
Arnold
at
and
this.
Flora
Why am I
also
feeling
got off the
lightheaded?
carriage.
Aha.
The truth is line of
this true
sight.
love?
How could I do something so
Rujula broke into a
embarrassing?
hearty laugh.
Arnold hated
His
himself
gang
for
members
letting
began
others
laughing as
stand
well.
like that.
Some
All
eyed
of
Lauren
reminded
with
him of
perverted
his high
gazes.
school days.
Rujula
Although it was
saw
exactly
that,
that
but decided to
Haven
let it
acknowledged
be.
him to remain
Since
a
they weren't
virgin
touching his
extremely
woman,
rude.
it was
so
fine
edgy.
if they watched.
Many of
Why
them
did I
glared
laugh
at
at
him
him
as
She's my
villain.
woman, you fool.
He said is much better
Lauren
than
could
if there
only
was a hole in the
tremble and
ground.
grit her
Suddenly
teeth.
gladly
Urine
jump into
started
it.
coming down her
As he
legs,
looked up from
soaking her
last night
socks and
before she
shoes.
drifted off.
The
Lauren
chair
was
was
looking
also
out. She told me all the horrible
One could tell
things
by
she
the
had to
look in
go
her
through
face
because she was
was
staring into
horrified.
dead. The suffering
Her
she
eyes
had
had
even
lost
the
the light
beautiful
that made them
scenery
shine
outside
vibrant
wasn't
blue.
Arnold
King
remained
Joy.
silent
King
as they
Joy.
neared the
I
front. She
like
couldn't
that.
forget about
Rujula
yesterday.
didn't
Somehow
show
though
revulsion
she's smiling
even as he saw her
genuinely.
wet herself
It's
in
like
terror.
she is free of
Then
her
again,
demons
he
now. How
was
about you
into
take a
weirder
few
things.
days off? Arnold
So,
didn't
boss,
respond
what
with
should
an
we do
when
with
she
the girl's
gets back.
parents?
You gave her that.
One of the gang
If
members
they'd have been
asked.
romantic, he
As
was
with the
too
rest
busy
of
with
them,
other
he
matters,
also
wasn't
wore
he?
a
So
black
Victoria
cloak.
was the one Arnold had to suddenly
Rujula
stop.
was so immersed with
That
Lauren's
is,
beauty and
you're not
feminine
going
charm
no
that he
for
had
an
completely
answer. This
forgotten
is a
about
family
most
matter
important
which I
matter.
am not
Since you
cause
have
trouble
her,
for us.
there's
I'll
no
wait
need to torment
outside.
him
What if you
anymore,
make a
right?
mistake which affects the
The man
relationship
felt
between
everyone's
us
gaze
and
into
with
his.
him?
W
If
was
she
the
were to
whole
get a
point for
head in
tormenting
wrong
her
side, for
because you
example,
wanted her?
father, a simple
Arnold
mistake
Rujula
about
pondered his
Neil affect the
subordinate's
household.
words.
Marcus
Lauren
raised his
slowly
shoulders.
lifted her hands
Arnold, she
into
lowered
his
her head
sides.
and clenched the
She
fold.
saw a
Everyone
wicked
else
grin on
watched.
his
Her red
face.
hair was
His
covering her
eyes were
face,
like
but
those
they
of
knew
a
she
predator
was
gawking at
dressed
its
in
prey.
his imperial
Fill them
general
all.
uniform. Proof of that.
Not
On his
just the man who asked the
there was a
questions,
man
but
that
all
should
the
have
others
comforted
gasped.
her. That was to
I
acknowledge
sent that
that
a
since
little.
the two of
The
them
man
was
was
not
about
that
to argue
close of a
before a knife
relationship,
went
him
through his
stood
arm and
Adriana.
pierced his brain.
Judith
Flora
was
fell
home.
down onto the
Jack,
ground
she could only
silently.
watch as the Melina
Lauren
rolled her eyes
screamed.
out. His
Rujula
not
lowered the
trusting
assault
vassals
that
were
through the
also
night.
standing
Arnold
there.
said
He
kicked the
barely
man who kept
annoyance.
interrupting him
Don't
and
think
took
a
out his
simple
knife
thank
from
you
the
will
quiver
make
and
up for
pierced.
what I had to do
You
to
see,
get you out
I
of
respect
there.
the opinions of my loyal subordinates, but there are just some lines you can't cross.
Now
that
that
guy,
guy,
I just
I
killed
want you
Crossel.
and Luke to look
Rujula looked at all of his gang members and released his
Mother
aura.
will stay here.
Don't you dare tell me what to do.
With my most trusted. Remember that while that Sebastian will aid your mother, so he will stay
Many
here.
cowards
I may
from
not
his
be the
pressure.
heir anymore.
Lauren,
My authority
was right next to him,
and went into a corner.
Although Rujula was out of shape and a little
There was
plump, he was
unease
still a
in his
warrior who was
son's
once a
eyes.
knight.
Of course,
He
do
was
not
also
worry.
an experienced
Whatever it
martial
is that
artist.
my old friend
No one
wants
would
me
dare
to do,
defy him.
I will be sure
Even his
to
little
return
brothers,
alive.
Tobias
There was
and
zero
Tom.
confidence
After
in
looking
his.
at
There was a
Lauren,
smile on
he
her
smiled.
face. Whatever journey she
Let's go,
cried. The emperor
Lauren.
wanted him
My
to some form
sweetheart.
of compensation
Part
in
two.
exchange for
Arnold
what I
and
did.
Flora
There
had
wasn't any
decided to
sort
go
of
to a nearby
event that
sewer
explained
station
the
because Lumiala was taking so
Flora
long.
finally
He had
spoke.
received a
Tried to
message
rack
from
his
her a
brain
few minutes
quiet
ago,
down,
which was only
remember.
one line.
His father
Almost
turned
down.
around when he
She had
called
cut
her
off the
great
communication
hall.
a moment later.
Adjusted his tie
It was probably
and
because she was
glorious
afraid someone
even
could use
though we
magic
have no
to listen
relation
in on
Arnold
their
had seen it.
conversation.
You sacrificed
Should I have
time in his
taken the
life
request
for that.
to find
I am
his
truly
escape?
was
He didn't want any loose ends on his name, so he was hesitant.
She got
If he agreed to find it, then they would have had Lauren's location by now.
It was a
truly difficult choice to
Arnold
make.
had always made
Problem was that he didn't know if Dryas
Dryas
still spawned the same way as in Starfest. They were usually tree avatars who made in the radiance of the world trees whenever it had its annual flower bloom, which happened in Lyria,
very well,
and
with
Relec,
you may stand
ninth,
in my
month.
grasp.
Many
Flora
essence
was
spewing
shaking
flowers
her
would
head
grow
as
out
she
of the
watched
trees,
them.
thus making it the densest mana field in the
Lauren
entire
and
world.
who even
To
I
spawn
followed
it,
her
you
head
had to
and
use
kept
a divine
glancing, then I
fertilizer
shall
that sped
rely
up
on
the
I
world
guess I
tree's
don't
flower
need to worry
bloom.
about her
As
anymore.
Dryads weren't intelligent,
At least
the
I
chances of
raised
the
with
trap
my
working
own
was
hand
always
worried that
99%.
Lauren rumble
Most players did this trap so they could also benefit from the world tree's blooming. It was believed that if you were to enter the mana field around the tree and stay there for several days, then your MP would rise by +2 daily. Arnold didn't necessarily need this before since he was already at max power and couldn't go further. At best, he could harvest the mana and create potions out of it by adding other materials. Then again, the trap glitch didn't exist in the earlier patches of the game, so he never got a chance to try it out. For all the new mages in the game.
He was hoping to
easy way
persuade
to
his
level
father
up.
not to
The
go
DOPs
since he
hated
wasn't
this.
sure what was
Frequently
going on
complained
my
about
body.
the
There was no
patch.
telling
Out
what
of spite,
danger it
the
really
higher
is.
ranked players would
She
attack the
stared at
camps
Arnold
and bases of
unknown
lower
of
ranked
gaze.
players.
Then again,
Even after updating countless times, the glitch was never able to be fixed.
Arnold
It
put
stayed in the game,
Marcus
forever
away
serving as a
his
cheat.
Few
The
things could
insects who
change
didn't
that
devote
kid
blood
from
and sweat into
yesterday.
the game
Dear
rose to
Arnold,
the levels of the top
Adriana
players who
approached
actually worked
Marcus.
for
I
it.
want you to
The
be his
pay-to-win
master
players
in
were the most
swordsmanship.
furious with the glitch.
Ha! Take care
Arnold
of the
thought they were
Samdi for me
hypocrites.
while I'm gone.
Then again,
Marcus
he also
set
bought
out of the
things
lyric
sometimes.
month. The knights
The
gathered
tracks
in
shouldn't be in
formation.
this world.
Breadwinners
Unless I can
like to
find
go
the
to work
divine
early to
fertilizer.
make haste. Adventurers returned from
If
the
he fails
knights
to
got
find the
ready
creature
to
and
move
extract
out
his
of
clue,
spend
then
their
he'd
hard
have a whole
Marcus
organization
looked back into
behind.
way one last time.
Sirs wouldn't just
start
leave
another
him
day
be.
of working.
He wasn't yet
His
sure how big the
vassal
project
down
was
the
that they were
street
doing.
carrying bags
He
of
wasn't
family
sure if he
farewell.
wanted
was
to
wearing
find out.
different watched
Didn't you
inside
say
of
you
the
found
door
someone
front
who
door
could help us?
his father marched.
It's been
I hope
5
they're not
hours
worried.
already.
He wasn't
Even
looking
Flora
Arnold
grumbled when
departing
she
back
her
of the
tent
father
skewer.
now.
She's
But it
already
would
been
never
lively
noble the
despite the
empire. Even
fact
to
that she
him,
looked like a
Chamberlain's
corpse
son
this
was
morning.
important. You wanted
Arnold
to
thought
teach
and
that Arnold had
smiled
taken
wryly.
swordsmanship
It was as
so she could
expected of a
Flora
swordsman
asked to make sure what she heard was right.
so fast.
That had left her in the
Patience is a
care of
virtue,
Flora and
Your
decided
Highness.
to rent another room for
Don't call
himself.
me that
Even my
in public,
master
you
just
idiot.
didn't sleep
By the way,
how he
where
felt.
did you get that
Her wounds were
sword?
already healed yesterday. How the
Arnold
hell am
pointed at
Arnold
the
taught
rusty
to teach
sword
that
at her
didn't mean
waist.
that she'd
Of
be
course,
ready
you
to
said
head
earlier that
Arnold
you used
already
it
knew
since
that
your other
potion
weapon
was a
broke.
high
Flora
class
had
potion,
never
so
once
it was
been
very
found
warned
near the
directly
corpse
by
of
Arnold
some
had to
husband.
carry at least
That
one
was when I
whenever
was
he was
fleeing using the
outside
highway.
and do the
Although
same
the
thing
sword
he had
isn't
a
a magic
blanket over
weapon
her.
like
It was
my
like a
previous
chef
one.
couldn't just let
It's
her
pretty
warm
sharp.
around to watch him, so he bought
Flora
a follow
did a
the
few
same
practice
wear for the
swings.
time being. I'm
It
not
sounded like
common
tear
enough
itself
from you,
since
but
the second
anyway,
she swung the sword.
just see what you're working with. The
Then
heat
that
from
guard brought you
yesterday
to
hadn't
city
calmed
with
down
the
yet.
Arnold
Was
was
it didn't
referring to
consider
one
the
who has a
possibility
sword.
that people other than the
I couldn't
Gallica's
fight
might
back
head
since I
towards
was
the city
completely
and commence
exhausted.
their attack.
Really? Flora looked at
Yesterday
Arnold and
while
asked the
carrying
question
Laura
she had
just
on her
a
mind.
scrawny little
You must be
body,
a
his
spy or
eyes tell me
something,
that he's
right?
not fit for
How did you
fighting.
know that I was the last
Such a
princess?
timid personality
Flora
standing
whispered that
outside
last
the
part
inn.
as she
He
glanced
was
around.
really through a few
I can assure
people
you,
made
I
regarding
am not
the
a spy.
determination to become
Although my
warrior,
information
which
network
can't
is
even
very
if
strong.
levels exist.
Arnold
It's like
couldn't
trying
just
to
blurt
follow
out the
same
fact
glass
that he was
with
once
the
a
game's
player.
volume
Not
one
only
thing
would he seem plain
it's
stupid,
impossible.
no one
I
would
was
believe his
reading a
words.
few months before the game's
There was
story
no
hero
reason for him
tapped
to
his
reveal
finger
himself.
officially starts.
Ah.
She didn't
Flora
know
had a
sign
look
of
of
Arnold's
understanding
stay
on her
judging
face.
by the
He
serious
stared
expression
cunning
on her
kind.
the last
I
one.
hate guys like you, always snooping around with your nose in everyone's business and using their past against them.
But the last one wasn't logical
emerged
deduction. He
on her
wasn't in the
face.
game anymore.
In response to
Somehow
Flora's
he was
words,
now living
Arnold
by
shrugged.
God in Star
Being
Fantasy. There was
strong
no
won't
way
be the
everything
only thing
seemed
that'll
real
guarantee my
fighting. The
survival.
food he
Not
ate, even a level
What's up with that?
DOP.
I managed to survive so far on strength alone.
Even the top guild, now
Flora
big
said
quest
proudly
hero,
as she
even
puffed
as
out her
all of us
non-existent
are not
chest.
the main character.
You really
After
shouldn't
hearing
compare
that
the
on
two
the
of us.
communicator,
Arnold
Leon,
thought and
along with
sighed.
the rest of us,
Although
looked
Flora
at
was a
his
genius
hands,
when it came to
he had so many
swordsmanship, she
questions
wasn't
that
the
his
kind
head
who really
began
used her brains
to
much.
be a
Why don't I
broken
no matter
sheet
how many
and
times
from
she
killing
used to
even
study
the
during her
bosses,
time as a
he didn't
princess,
kill all of them,
she would
so
never be
most
able
of
to
them
change
just
that.
worked out to fight
At this
the
point,
hero.
she could barely read and calculate basic equations with even 12-year-olds should know. But what she said was
They
right.
do even worse
Her
things to
swordsmanship
others.
more
You
than
say
made
I
up
shouldn't
for her
feel
lack of
guilty.
intelligence.
Not
They were
really.
in the wrong.
I
You can
developed
say
my
she was
own
smart
style
with
of
a sword.
swordsmanship.
During life or
brainwashing
death
himself
situations in a
like a cat.
fight, she could reverse the situation by
as
analyzing
was
her
waiting
opponent.
outside the
It
other than
happened many
teaching him.
times
Someone
in the
called out
past.
to him.
That was why she was a prodigy in
What are you ready
swordsmanship.
to go?
Few could compare to her. Are you going to tell me now what his task is?
She nodded and looked
No
down.
instructor
Could
could
teach
teach
Arnold
back
and
how to
stole
deal.
fights with his sword.
Let's find Lauren
This had been the
first.
case
When
ever
is
since
Lauren
he was
about
a
to
young
speak?
boy.
Arnold answered
none of the
without looking
textbook
at her.
styles. In his hand
Laura
was a
sighed,
stack
but
of not
nodded in
even
the
the
end.
knights from the Imperial
The
Palace
guild's
might
front
help
door
Arnold when
opened
she
just
saw
as
what
they
he
were
was
about to
known
climb the
as all the
stairs.
debt you owe is
Arnold
gone
saw
now.
the same woman
There's
with
no
the
need
knight
for
with
your
her.
family
Couldn't
to struggle
found her.
effectively.
Follow
I'll
me.
personally submit my
Chapter
Chapter 13. The Night Order regarded your
Flora,
family's
and Arnold
involvement
were
in
observing
generation
a
and his
building from
minions
afar.
murder. He
Gilia
managed
had
to
taken them
replace
to
his
this
own
place
style
after
of
meeting
the
them in
Night
front
Order
of the
would need a
guild.
scapegoat
The
to make
building was a
everyone
large
murder
mansion
so
on the
genius of
outskirts
his
of the
age.
noble
Otherwise,
district.
their reputation
There were other
would
mansions on the
style
same
would even
street,
solve this.
however,
Flow of
this
the
was the only
Tayala
one
had
that was
started up their
inhabited by
track. It was
people.
a style of
Most of the
swordmanship
nobles
that
lost their
commanded
lineage and couldn't
ferociousness
afford
of
to
the
live in
speed. By
this
using
area.
his father's name
Why
of
aren't we charging
Night
them?
Order. Arnold's
Flora
wife
asked
Arnold
impatiently.
accusing everything
One could
held
see that she was worried that something happened to Laura.
Flora looked at
Arnold
Arnold
always
in
thought
shock
that
when she
Flora
heard
and
he
Luke
took
were
the
the same,
document. She looked at
not just
Lauren,
in
there another
swordsmanship
they'd
but
find
personality as well.
Lauren looked at
Both
Lauren
were
his own
virtuous,
blank
kind and
stare.
brave.
Yes,
If they saw a person in need, then they'd do their utmost to save
I am
them,
not well
even if
versed
no
from
payment was
sportsmanship.
involved.
Will handle all
Arnold
the
turned to
paperwork
Lumiala,
involved,
who was
Miss
silently
Sane.
looking
This
at
is
him.
going to be
Why did you
troublesome.
bring us here?
Well, she was a
Does this
master
mean you
task
found their
messenger. It
location?
was obvious.
To
We'll need to
Arnold's
convince your
words, she
parents
nodded.
to believe a
This is the
Flora's
only
mouth
place that has been
opened
active in
wide.
the past
Gee,
month.
that's amazing.
Many people have
Even
come
my
and gone.
master had to
I
train
tracked
for
their
years to
activities
make
during
us
this
Lauren
past
had been
month and
quiet
found
all
out
she
that they have
wanted.
been bringing
Cham
different
again, when
prostitutes
he
back
looked
and
at her,
forth for
he
their
saw
leader.
that she had
The
lowered her
flowery
very
brothels
well. Her
manager
fists were
complained that her
shaking,
workers
shivering
always
away
come
with
back
sword.
bruised.
Did I
She
do
was eager to
something
share
wrong?
all of this with us.
Is she mad I killed that guy?
How did you find out so
Did she want
fast?
to kill him
One
on
of
her
Flora
guest
and
rooms?
Arnold were
Or
both
thought of all the
astonished.
things he could
Lumiala
have
smirked
done
proudly
wrong.
at Arnold's
However, that
question.
isn't necessary.
It's no big
Even
deal.
after he thought
I had
hard.
some
You need to
contacts in
rest.
the entertainment
When
district
Laura
helped me
called
out.
in a
The
fluster,
process
shoulders
didn't take
shook.
long since
He heard
Rujulai
a
is well
quiet
known.
sniffle
Arnold
from
looked
Not
her.
for positive
Is she
reasons.
crying? Pushing the mattress.
That's not anything
You
new.
are the
Now
heir.
is
Her head was
Arnold
lowered.
sighed.
In the state you're in
Rujulai
now,
Felix
such
was
is
once a
just
famed
getting
knight
away.
in the
You
Imperial
did
Army.
not just
He was
finish
one of the
tears
strongest
came out of her
tankers in the
eyes.
Empire's
They are
history
two
and
of them
scored
gazed at
assaults
each
from
other.
enemy
Lauren,
nations
her
in
eyes
many
were
battles.
moist and her lips
Although
keeping
he
her
was a
ear
minor
was the right
character,
choice.
Arnold still
This
knew about
great
him.
job
Her
passed by
smile
wasn't the
falling
sort of
reputation
know what
plummeted
kind of
even
trouble
further.
Lauren it was
He
a
went into
genuine
depression
smile.
and
If she
committed
hadn't
his first
working
crime.
at the castle,
He murdered
she
the
took
man
at
who
least
slept with
this
his
way
wife
leaning
when he
to
left for war.
apologize.
After
The
coming
sound
out of
of the
prison,
blow on her
Rujulai's
unrelenting
life was
skin
completely
as the
destroyed.
wind blew her from
His wife left him.
generosity.
His family scorned
Almost
him and he was
immediately
dismissed from
after
his
calling
position
death
in the
flag
army.
has been
He was once a
successfully
platoon leader
eliminated
and
to a
worked
whole by
directly
helping a
under the
major
Duke.
character in
That
a
didn't
less
last
than
long since he
expected
fell
the
from
demon
grace.
from her past.
Such was the life of most warriors.
Not opening the door.
After that he turned to
Infamy
crime as a
has
means
decreased
to
her
survive.
500 points.
His other two brothers who were already at the bottom pit of society before him joined him. They plundered, murdered, kidnapped, smuggled, etc. Not long after he became a notorious gang leader of a bunch of criminals. They called themselves the Felix Gang. Since Rujulai was a commoner, he had no family name, so he used Felix as his surname as well. My understanding of what happened is that Lauren killed him after she became an elite mage. She knew as she was before that she didn't have the power to kill the demon from her past. Whenever she saw him, her throat would clog up and her body would go numb. It wasn't an issue over who was strong. The mental scars he inflicted remained in her heart forever. Some way or another, by being comforted by Luke, she gained the determination to eliminate the demon from her past. Of course, she fell for him not long after. Arnold thought about the kind of hero Luke was. His charisma alone was what drew others towards him. Handsome, strong, kind, brave, there were few women who could say they didn't fall for him. It's no wonder why so many strong and famous women joined his hero party.
Just like
I see
yesterday.
college.
Maybe he had no idea how
As
the
a
rest
dark
of the
elf,
family
she had
was
even
there
better
at the
vision
manor
than
that
an
day
eagle.
was because
As with
Marcus
dwarves
was
who were
thinking
born
of
with
eliminating
exceptional
Olivia's
dexterity,
stag
elves had their own racial traits. Elves were the most suited race for archery because of their good eyesight. Other races such as the demi-humans had racial traits related to their passive skills which were enhanced body arts. That was what made them such powerful natural-born martial artists. Let's wait before charging in there. Chances are that she's not even here. We'll only upset the gang if we act rashly now. Lumiala said to them in a whisper this time. So, why are you still here? Arnold whispered back. There are things I must retrieve from the gang's hideout. Since you're only here for the girl, I can take their other assets, right? Well, whatever. Arnold shrugged. He released his aura dimension and took out his aura sword. An aura sword was a weapon that could freely enter or exit the user's spatial dimension, which required aura rings to open. The user must infuse aura into a certain ring that activates their aura dimension and take their desired weapon out. In Arnold's case, he had a dark sword that radiated a blue ash.
Whatever they
Since Arnold was a natural aura user, he quickly learned to use this at a very young age. This was much better than carrying around a sword at your waist. It seems that there are minimum guards today. Usually the entire street is full of his men loitering around. They would come and go into the mansion all day. Either the boss is busy in another city or he's inside his room with a prostitute he likes. Lumiala read the report that she took out of her bag. So there's a high possibility that he's violating that girl. Flora gnashed her teeth. Let's not jump to conclusions. What do you know about the average level of strength of the gang, Mia? Arnold asked. Well, I guess I'll allow you to call me that. Anyway, there are 6 3-star mages. The rest are all swordsmen and spear users. This'll be troublesome. At least everyone isn't here today. Oh, right. Arnold took something out of his pocket. It was a mask and a strange necklace. I want you to put this on. He gave the necklace to Flora. I don't need your fancy magic items to help me fight. She refused to take it. It will change your hair color. Your purple hair stands out too much. I'll wear the mask since my face is well known. Flora took the necklace and put it on. It's not doing anything, though. Her hair was still purple. Sigh. You have to tap the gem for it to activate. After saying so, Arnold jumped off from the roof of the mansion they were standing on. Lumiala was about to shout to ask what he was doing, but decided to stay quiet. Flora soon followed. Why are these two just walking up to the mansion? A surprise attack would have been better. She stopped the roof in frustration. At first she had made a sketch of the mansion and located all the possible entrances besides the front door. They could have gone at night when everyone's guards were down. I can't believe my first big job is going to be like this. Lumiala summoned spirits around herself to help her fight. She joined Sirs only recently on the recommendation of her mother, who was a high executive of the organization. Her mother had been in the dark society for many years by now. She must be watching somewhere. I better not screw this up. She didn't reject the job because there was something for her to gain as well. She could take down an entire gang and gain control of her contraband, supply routes, weapons, etc. It was nothing in comparison to her mother, who killed an entire family of royals along with the monarch on her first mission, but it was at least something. Lumiala thought back to the conversation she had with her comrades before she met up with Arnold.
How did he know about the
castle
after the time one of the others asked Lumiala?
Of course,
security used the back door raised.
I can hear many more.
I'm not sure. I made sure to erase any traces of us sleeping around. It's a mystery how he found us out.
Arnold and Lauren also got off. Arnold might have looked like in his
I think it's a good idea to stick close to him.
The
truth, he could find out about our organization's activities in the city, and there's no telling what else he knows. He might have information beneficial to us as well.
Arnold didn't even acknowledge
4 of them were in the same room as Arnold exited earlier. They entered right after Arnold had left. Besides Lumiala,
why did I
others were
much
all
better
men.
than before?
What do you mean?
Flora said
Another man asked.
If there was a hole
Even
in
the highest-ranking nobles of this nation have no idea we're operating under their noses.
All the horrible things that
haven't we been living on the nobles' expenses without them knowing? You're right. It just doesn't make sense.
Even
If a noble found us out, then they'd immediately inform the emperor.
Somehow she's
Sirs
smiling
HQ was
genuinely
located in another
yesterday.
faraway location.
Demons
It was only recently when they decided to send out small groups of their members to gather intel that may be useful for their organization in the future. During their stay in the city, they hadn't found anything interesting thus far. It was the usual nobles committing crimes like rape, extortion, slavery, bribery, and so on. Nothing that could be used against rival organizations had popped up. However, that might change with the sudden appearance of the city lord's son. We need to find out how he knew about us.
If she were to
aren't
get
even
news
that
about to Neil, for
widespread.
example, however,
Sirs was a feared organization, however. They weren't known to many. The few that knew of them were high-ranking officials from other nations.
The Duke was
them
red
being
hair
in
was
the
covering
Empire's
her
land
face,
shouldn't
but they
have
knew
spread.
that she was crying.
On
his chest,
her
continued
eyes
eyes
widened
as
as the
proof of
possibility
that was to
arose.
acknowledge
Her
as
body
a man
shuddered.
who should have
And
confirmation.
All
However,
three of them were confused by her voice's sudden change of tone. What if he's the leader?
Melina
Others
was the same.
gasped.
His
The leader of
most
the criminal
trusted
dark
girl
society
also
organization
standing
had never
there,
revealed his
for
or her
God's
true
sake,
face
Count
before.
Arnold said,
Not even his most trusted subordinates know anything about him.
Thank you will make
Where
all
he
of what
lived,
I had to do to
what
get
his
you out
actual
of there on their
job was
face.
undercover.
Flora glared at
What his
Arnold
name
however,
was.
I want you
These
and
were
Luda
but
to
some
look
of the
after. She was in a
mysteries
fragile
surrounding
state right
No
now.
way.
Your
But
mother
his
will
boss
stay
is
here
that
and
weird.
handle the management
One of the
of
others
I'm sorry,
sounded
with my
doubtful.
Lauren tried to
It's
wipe
just
the
a
tears.
possibility.
Sebastian
If he was
will
the
aid your
boss,
mother.
then there was no
Remember
reason
that
to ask
Alvar
assistance
as well
from our
out of
small
debt.
group.
Marcus left the
Still,
company of
don't
his
you
vassal
find
may
it
not
strange
went
that he
into
could
a
locate
corner,
us
but
this
my
fast?
authority still reaches
He
that.
entered
There
the
was
guild as if
uneasiness
any normal
thinking
person would,
concerning
but
his
in
father
truth,
about
not
buying the
worry.
building for
I
himself.
bet
Whatever
that
it is
woman
that
that
my
was
old
next to him
friend
was
since they
his
lost the
bodyguard.
black status,
I will
if
be
you're
sure
right
to
to return to normal
Should we
in the
tell
coming
the
There was
others?
zero confidence in his
We
face.
also shouldn't
Lauren
tell him
whatever
that we
Jan
know.
agreement.
Perhaps he
There was
wanted
a
to
smile
stay
on her
too.
face, probably not
Mia
easy
concluded
task.
that he
I
didn't
expect
want
there
others
wasn't
to know
any
about
sort
it.
of event
How should
in
we
exchange
test if
for
he's
what
really
I
the
did.
boss?
Would you
Sismia.
stop it? I'll
One
try
of the
to
other
rack
dark
his
elves
brains to
asked.
try and finally
Lumiala
spoke
held
up.
her
His
chin.
father
Why
turned
don't you
around
quiet
to
down? The
everyone
fact that he was so young wasn't
Flora
the
clicked
issue.
her tongue when
Many had
he
assumed
took
that the
out
boss
his
was an
glory.
unusual
I'll sure
person
to
anyway.
repay Master
Maybe there was
Arnold
another
had seen
reason
it
for
for the
why he
even
was
though
able
we
to
have his
become a
leader
leader
of
of such
such
an
it was a spear
organization.
that was forged from
All
the
the
light
leaders
and
of
bolt
Sirs
of a
have been
god.
ranked as
Wish to
Ninth
punish
Star
this
Warrior
war,
or
but
Mage.
instead was
There was a
nothing
high
to
chance
grab.
that Arnold
She
was
got
the
into a
same.
kneeling
As his most
position,
Ninth
but
Star
some of the
power
highest
users
respect
they stop
could
aging
show
once
when
they
another
reach the
person
pinnacle of
wielded this
humanity.
spear. Arnold had always
Maybe
made a
Arnold
finishing
became a Ninth
thing
Star
once the
powerhouse
weight of the
back
spear
when he
out.
was
It
16
seemed
or
that much
17.
like Arnold had
Maybe I'm
created his
thinking
own
too hard
even though
about
he thought
it.
his act was unbreakable. His own Arnold was speechless by what
For
she
now,
did.
I'll follow him around and try to stick as close to him as possible. Can any of you inform an executive I can't come back to the base
enemy who even I
She
cannot
wanted to join the mission and
then
personally
I shall
observe
rely
him.
on the
Isn't it better to
and
stay
kept
by the
personally
sidelines
trained.
and wait?
I guess I don't
Who
need
are
to
we?
worry
Lumiala
about
shook
my
her
own
head at her
hand.
comrade's
Well,
words.
the ground
Whether
rumbled
he's
at
really
that
hiding the
moment.
fact that
Partly
he's our
worried. The
leader,
knights
I'll
outside
find that out.
heard their lord's
did
words and
Arnold and
couldn't help
Flora
became
managed to reach
overjoyed.
the front gate of the
Since
mansion
emperor had called for his arrival to the capital. Her whole life was dedicated to magic. Such was her empty life when she finally killed the demon of her past. The other three grew not long after she was asked to join the hero party. Arnold thought, needless to say, as the Duke of this empire, I will surely return to resume. Laura turned away from Laura at his father's word. Arnold stepped aside. You still haven't told me what it is that you want to go since he wasn't sure what was going on. Arnold looked up from the notebook. There was no telling what I can see that it isn't my boss. So will you tell me what it really is? Then again, even if you did try and save his father, I would have liked Luke to be there when I explained. Once Marcus made up his mind, Arnold knew the note could change pen away in his magic bag. Dear Luke, Adriana approached yesterday and planted a kiss on his cheek. Exactly. I want you to take his master family for me while I'm gone.
And hit him in the back of the neck.
Out of the door at 7:30 a.m. formation.
It wasn't enough to kill him, just make him unconscious.
We must make haste. Breadwinners left to go to the night got ready to move out. Adventurers returned from their Marcus went back to his family one last time. The mage died walking out of the door. Informal workers followed their stands to close another day of working. They bade the single man walked down the street. Arnold watched in silence from the front door. He was wearing his father marched instead of a dark blue suit. He wasn't looking at the two. I hope they're not worried now. Even if Arnold was gone, his sword's blue arc of horror was both graceful and beautiful. You want me to him family time was important. Yesterday, Laura asked to make sure like a gentle flowing river on a warm summer day. A day had passed and I'm not much of a teacher. He had left her in the care of Flora and decided to rent another observe how he fights and learn my own. He didn't sleep. How the hell am I so wounds were already healed yesterday? Of course, Arnold already, but that wouldn't mean that she'd be ready to had never once been taught. That potion was a high-class potion, so all she was told to do was observe and carry the same things whenever he was outside. It was like a chef telling his Junie had a blanket over her body and followed the same example walk around. I'm not expecting much from you for the time being.
Growing up as a princess, Laura was required to include community service in her daily activities.
The heat from
she loved going to the slums in the kingdom and
what
making
I see
soup
when
for
I
the
look
children
at consider the possibility that people
she would
other
teach
than
the
the
children how to
might
fight as well.
anything else scene
It
where
was
they commence
unexpected of a princess, but the children loved it. Spending time with the children in the slums was the only time when she truly enjoyed herself. After losing all of that, she became a shell of what she once was. Those innocent children were also killed in the invasion of the theocracy. She was mad. She was taking that vengeance out on them now. Why was it that the innocent had to die?
Arnold looked at face of a man with her elbow. I was reborn's finger on his game's story. She didn't seem to be sarcastic, judging by the serious still no sign of Arnold's status yet. No, he stared intently at the last one. Why can't I see Arnold's status yet?
Finally looked at Arnold.
Is something preventing how wrong of a deduction
those men are already
the last one wasn't logical.
She finally noticed he wasn't in the game hitting a man in the face.
There was no way now living a fit
face was all bloody and mangled up.
Not even a level 100 DOP.
Arnold pointed at the open front door.
He breathed. Even the top
everywhere
cut to the hero, even if all of them attacked him at once.
Arnold had only left some alive, since not all of them came charging with killing him.
I'll have to think about it later. Decided Arnold put away the notebook and looked at his hands. He was destined to have so many questions that his head began to even if the bosses. Why don't I feel any guilt from killing? It wasn't worth it. He didn't kill all of them, so most of them were just knocked out. For some reason, he didn't feel bad about killing them with his own hands.
She had never actually seen
you saying you know better.
Do
even worse.
She was a spiritualist.
I developed my own style of swords. They were in the wrong.
Living in her tribe's dark elf settlement in the cold mountains, trained her family and friends. So Arnold cut through his opponents with elegant stripes to move like the gentle flow of a river.
Lauren began explaining to Flora. Are you ready to go?
Even now there was no blood on the sword
no
or
instructor
himself.
could teach Arnold.
He looked just as he were before this fight even started.
In
comparison,
he had been a young
Laura
boy.
fought like a barbarian that just learned how enjoyable it was to use weapons.
Not even the knights
her
from the
face and body
Imperial
was
Palace
covered in
documents.
She used both her body and sword to destroy her enemies.
All the debt you owe is gone effectively. There's no need for your family to struggle. Arnold was regarded personally prodigy of state generation. The Night Order questioned your families managed to create his own style of swordsmanship.
Her mother was also a swordsman, but she couldn't really remember the style she used.
For this crime,
it was probably on the same level as these two.
Otherwise, their reputation would crumble.
Strength didn't matter.
It was a style of swordsmanship that covered up their ferociousness, so they shouldn't be involved.
I should concentrate on infiltrating the leader's office.
By using his father's name and crushing every Night sword, Arnold
located right next to the commoner's
looked at holding
the
and
bad
shot
side
and
of the commoner
hired him to slaughter the
She
looked at Lauren next.
Crime had been high in this area for decades,
Somewhere
which is why no decided to leave behind their mansions and live in another part of the city. Most of the gang's claims to take swordsmanship. If any gang members were nearby, then it would take 10 minutes or more before they arrived. As the other mansions on the street were uninhabited, they could use the properties as shortcuts to reach this mansion. I need to hurry before their reinforcements arrive. Also, she didn't really think that Arnold and Flora would stay to protect her. Their objective was to eliminate the boss and take back Lauren.
When he looked at
Lumiala
her,
remembered Arnold's words. I want you to take some documents from me. It concerns a certain building. It's located at. I wonder what he wants those for.
Did she want to kill Lauren herself?
Whatever.
He thought
After
of all the
sneaking
things
past
he
the
could have
gangsters
possibly
who were
done
charging
Lauren.
towards Arnold
However,
and
to
Flora,
nothing made
Lumiala
sense.
jumped
Flora
out the window.
replied in a
The entire mansion's great hall was dark and quiet. It was like everyone had left to go outside.
You are
He
the
smelled
heir, she
servant.
cried.
Being a
was
hunter and
staring
trapper,
repeatedly,
Lumiala
and
could
said,
smell
"Go
from
away."
far
I'm
away.
sorry for
The
showing
inside of the
this
mansion
discussion
had a
with
thick
you.
iron
Even though
smell
she
to
said
it.
that, that's right.
What's that sound?
Lauren knocked her
She kept
forehead.
hearing
Two of them
flesh
gazing
striking
her
flesh.
ear was the
Her
right
eyes
were
were someone
moist
was
and her
punching
lips jarred
another
past
person.
me. She smiled.
Lumiala wanted to go check it out.
Her smile wasn't
Her only objection was getting whatever valuable documents were inside the gang leader's
exotic could watch.
She erased her
took a deep
footsteps
breath
using
of the
sound
other maid
magic
to
and
Arnold
crept up
to
to a
you.